Good.
All right. We'll go to Ralph in Florida. You're on with Don and Matt. How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing today?
Not too bad.
Okay. I like the biblical Christian debates. I keep up the good work. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I wanted to... I heard before you said no science evidence of God, and I'd like to get into that, if you will. Indulge me.
It's pretty straightforward.
So what is your criteria for evidence?
I don't have or set a criteria for evidence. It's just dependent on the claim. Somebody needs to make a claim, and then we begin evaluating how testable that claim is. The problem, when I say there's no scientific evidence for God, it's because science deals with the natural, and God claims tend to be supernatural. And so science does not even attempt to and could not verify the existence of the supernatural or what the supernatural can do until someone demonstrates a mechanism by which we could do that.
And
So why would
scientific
you think
evidence,
no
you know,
evidence?
maybe
I still don't understand that.
Just a second. You know, as a scientist, first thing I would do is maybe do a literature search and see who wrote a paper proving the existence of God, or, you know, it's such a miraculous claim that that somebody would win the Nobel Prize for that, right? And I don't know of any of that.
There are certainly findings within science that people look at as evidence for God, but that's not what science does.
99% of the time,
What about
is
this? What about like a supernatural God versus a natural God? Couldn't you, if there was a natural God, couldn't you actually study that God with science? But not a supernatural God. Like you said, that's
I don't know what a natural God is, but if there's something natural, then yes, it's at least plausible that you could investigate it.
Okay. Well, that
are you aware of some natural God?
I believe, that I have, faith that the universe is God. I know that
Why?
may seem absurd.
Yes.
But
first of all, saying you have
we
faith.
can study the universe for
Yeah.
what we could consider God attributes.
What are God attributes?
Excuse me?
What are God attributes that we can find in the universe?
Well, what would you think would be a God attribute? Do you have any input?
I'm not the one that believes in a God. I'm not the one here advocating for a God. You get to tell me what you believe and why.
Okay, well, I think, there are synonymous correlations between, for instance, religion and what they teach of a God in some cases. Now, I don't get me wrong, the Bible, I think, is absurd on many levels, talking snakes, that kind of thing. But I think they could have, a hypothesis is just a guess, essentially.
No.
Educated guess.
Okay.
Or a prediction, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And a hypothesis needs to be what, most of all?
I would say logical.
Testable.
Testable, yes.
So give me some characteristic of God that you think is testable that would lead you to the conclusion that the universe is God.
Well, the universe is, some scientists, prominent scientists now assert that the universe is conscious, and how they come to that conclusion is we are elements of the universe. We are conscious, therefore consciousness seems to originate from the universe. Therefore, we are conscious, and therefore, since we are conscious, the universe, some aspect of it, is conscious through us.
Does that mean my pinky is conscious?
No, your pinky is not your brain. Would the sun be conscious? No.
Okay. So the parts of something, what the parts of something can do, are independent from what the whole can do, and what the whole can do is independent from what the parts can do. So this consciousness, by way of analogy, is really kind of a metaphor. When somebody says the universe is conscious because we're conscious, all they mean is there's consciousness in the universe, not that the universe itself is conscious. And the demonstration of that is if every conscious being died and the rest of the universe remained, would the universe be considered conscious then?
I would say not.
Me
but
too.
Think about it this way: if you cut your pinky off, you're still you. So
yeah, but I'm not the same me that I was before the pinky. What happens is when I cut my pinky off, I redefine me as what I was before minus a pinky.
Yeah.
And so if I cut my head off, then we can redefine me as what I was before minus consciousness. And which you've already acknowledged by suggesting that if every conscious being ceased to exist, the universe would no longer be considered conscious.
Okay. Well, also,
it seems to me, it seems to me, Ralph, that you're kind of enamored with the notion that there could be a God, there might be a God. Is there some way for God? Why is there this desperate thing to try to find something that you don't have any good reason to think is even real? Like, why aren't you arguing on behalf of pixies? I mean, I think pixies would be fun based on the descriptions of them in fantasy novels. Some of them maybe not as much. Some of them maybe cantankerous or whatever. But there are things in fantasy novels that I like and appreciate. There are things in science fiction stories I like. I'd like for warp drive to be real. And I'd like for us to maybe kind of investigate that. But if it turns out everything that we find shows that there's no good reason to think that faster than light travel is possible, why would we then redefine faster than light to be like, well, if you think about it, we're seeing light from stars from a long time ago right now. And so that's kind of a little bit like time travel. And so I'm going to say that time travel is possible. And since motion is relative, maybe we're actually traveling faster than light in a metaphorical sense.
I'm not claiming any kind of certainty, as far as I'm more agnostic, I would say. But for most of my life, I was 100% agnostic, undecided. But I'm with Kaku. Kaku said that he thinks there's wisdom in the God of Einstein. And I do look up to him. Some say that it's appeal to authority, but I believe Einstein was an authority on the universe. Tesla said he believed there is a core, and his mind is a receiver to that core. I would say that core he spoke of may well be God.
I don't know. All of this is metaphor and flowery language. I don't see anything scientific here.
What difference does it make what any of those people said? What matters is what they can prove.
I guess you could say those would be my prophets. I look up to genius level scientists and philosophers.
Okay. Why?
Why not? I mean, they've definitely had a lot of insight into a great many things.
Sure, but if I'm really good at one thing, does that mean I'm really good at something else?
Well, you'd rather, I guess, I study under Jesus? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you're looking to Michio Kaku, you're looking to Einstein. Have they demonstrated any
186 IQ?
So IQ doesn't matter. IQ is a measure of how good you are at taking IQ tests. I have a really nice IQ number that I couldn't care less about.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I agree. With much
but
of
does
what you said.
Kaku or Einstein or any of these guys, have they demonstrated some expertise with regard to understanding or knowledge of gods?
Well, if their God is the universe, yes, because that's what they were expert in.
Okay.
The study of the universe.
If I'm an expert auto mechanic, does that mean that you should call me to fix your plumbing?
Well, we're not talking about
Hang on.
plumbing.
That was a simple question. That was a simple question.
No.
What if I tell you that your plumbing is actually a car?
Yeah, but
Yeah, but nothing. Calling the universe God in order to take your legitimate understanding of the universe and then move it into a different category is
you're
dishonest.
The wrong metaphor here. The metaphor would be the universe, and Einstein was an expert on the universe. He wasn't an expert on plumbing, so I wouldn't seek him for plumbing advice.
Sure.
But
So Einstein's an expert on the universe. Einstein's an expert on the universe, and I'm an expert on auto mechanics. And so Einstein, first of all, doesn't say the universe is God. He was talking about Spinoza's God, and it's entirely metaphorical. But if Einstein were to say the universe is God, that would be like me saying this car is your plumbing, or that I can fix your plumbing or tell you about plumbing because there are hoses around my engine that transport water, and then there's heat transfer and fluid flow issues related to a radiator, and that this is somehow similar to your garbage disposal.
I just don't think that metaphor fits like you're thinking it fits. But
Okay, and it may not.
I don't think your metaphor
And
fits.
it may not, but at the end of the day, why are you taking the people's thoughts about that are science-based about the universe and then expanding that to a metaphor about God and then trying to make claims about God?
it just seems like a more logical approach than, like I said, for Christianity, for example. I know.
Congratulations. You've
You've
come up with something more reasonable than something that is unreasonable. The point isn't to say. The point is not to say. The point is not, Ralph.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The point is not to say I'm more reasonable than the village idiot. The point is to demonstrate that your position is actually reasonable enough to be accepted as likely true.
Well, I don't see why it wouldn't be. It seems plausible to me.
Okay.
I suggest you maybe just drop the whole God thing and stick to claims about the universe that are provable and testable. And
why not drop the universe thing and rename?
because the universe exists and we don't know if God exists.
Because the universe is here, yeah.
I can touch the universe.
Well, I mean,
walking up and down in it.
Everything originates from the universe. It's a fact.
What originates from the universe?
We did, consciousness did, everything.
Sure, we're part of the universe.
So would you say consciousness, there's different arguments on consciousness. We could get into that. I've read a lot about it.
Yeah. You're not going to get to God from there.
But that's a hard problem.
Yes.
Dawkins has said that's the hard problem of consciousness.
Okay,
There's a lot of things we don't know, and a lot of things we're studying. So what?
But I'm just saying, to be certain there's no God.
Nobody's
saying that.
Have either of us said we are certain there is no God?
You seem very confident that there's no God.
I'm confident that I have not been presented with any compelling arguments for a God, but have I ever said I am certain there is no God? As a matter of fact, haven't I also said that I'm not absolutely certain about anything? Haven't I said that like a gazillion fucking times?
Yes, you're an agnostic atheist.
Goodbye. If you know that my position, and then Don's may not be the same, but if you know that my position is that I don't think you can be absolutely certain about anything, how dare you call in and suggest and say that it just seems unreasonable for you to be certain there is no God? Oh, I don't know why I did a different accent. My ex-wife will smack me for that because it's accent shaming to take the Southern accent and make it sound stupid.
Well, we're certain that the evidence is paltry. That we've been presented with.
I'm certainly confident of that.
We've been asking for it for years.
Yeah, and it's nothing new.
Nothing new.